Hello, everyone who's maybe joining us. I'm here with my wonderful co-host in Austria, Karin Gatrinik. I'm Lee
Hello,
Jenkins,
hello.
and welcome to this. Well, I guess it's chapter 7 of Abundance Tuning, and we're talking about shift. Any thoughts on this chapter before we get going, Karin? Anything you want to add to it? I think you kind of like this chapter, I think, from what I understand.
Yeah, I like it. There's steps. I love it because in this book you describe the single steps very exactly, that the people really understand what's happening in the mind and what's necessary to go through these steps and through the resistance wall, or like Bob Proctor always said, the terror barrier.
Mhm.
It's so interesting, yeah, how everything works together. And yeah, the big deal for the people is to really get conscious about what's happening in between the single steps. Yeah, so what I would love that everyone can take a golden nugget from each session. And I think that this chapter is a golden nugget as a whole, golden nugget. Yeah, the whole chapter is a golden nugget. Yeah,
I know
yeah.
that.
If you understand what's happening here in this chapter, it's great because you can use it in a daily, on a daily basis, and can have to practice. And yeah, you're getting better and better every single day.
I think both of us can say we've definitely shifted our lives over the years. I know I haven't known you a long, long time. I feel like I've known you forever now that we talk so much. But I've seen you make shifts in your life. You've made shifts way before I even came around. I personally have made a lot of shifts in my life, the same thing. And that's what this chapter is about. It's, I think really this particular chapter could be expanded and made into a book by itself, I think. There's a lot of great information in here. It's really, take you from where you are to where you want to go, right? We all get stuck. That's a big part of this. We talk about being stuck, and then we're searching for change, that's the outcome, to go from where you are being stuck to the change that you're looking for. So there's a bit of a process, and that's what we're trying to do in this particular chapter, is to show those 5 steps. And good afternoon to whoever just said good afternoon. Unfortunately, the system I have here doesn't have names on it, so I can't say hello to whoever you are. But thanks for joining us, and maybe put your name on there, and then we'll know who you are. So, anyways, good afternoon. So, shall we just get right into this? How about if I just read a little bit of this? Very beginning, it says this chapter is about something far more important than motivation. It's about understanding that you already possess the key to every great thing that you can imagine. The access to tuning into abundance. It's about understanding your conditioned mind. And hi, Lawrence Buckley. Thank you for that. It's about understanding your conditioned mind and paradigms. Now, paradigms can be the greatest enemy you will ever have when seeking change in your life. It can feel like an internal war for your goals, your dreams, and your life. This enemy is restless and scheming against you, attacking your emotions and coming after your mind, body, relationships, and future. Not to worry, though, as you will learn that you already are equipped and ready to conquer your paradigms and pursue the life that you have chosen. I always like this quote from Joel Barker, The Power of the Subconscious Mind book. To ignore the power of paradigms to influence your judgment is to put yourself at risk when exploring the future. It's absolutely true. So, I go on to say down here is, what is possible? What is impossible for you? And the answer is, well, nothing is impossible, is it? Impossible is an illusion, however, a very compelling one. I go on to say, I believe much of what we call reality, and indeed what we deem impossible, is nothing but illusions, false beliefs, false concepts we have inherited. And unfortunately, those beliefs prevent us from achieving what we really want. We're going to say here, we are programmed to reach for what we know, what is reasonable and what is predictable, causing us not to pursue what we want for ourselves and our family. That's a big one, isn't it? Paradigms. Really trying to get an understanding of how paradigms work. That's a big one, isn't it? What do you think? There.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I think of some of
If
the
you
paradigms.
understand the paradigm, pardon me.
Carry on.
Yeah, the paradigms, they control our life. Yeah, paradigms control everything. And the quote from Joel Barker, I love it because it brings everything on point to ignore the power of paradigms. Yeah, to influence your judgment is to put yourself at risk when exploring the future. And that's so true. That's what I experienced too. Because if you always do the same things, if you always think the same thoughts, and then you have always will always have the same emotions, so you always have the same results.
Yeah.
And
You're going to
and
find.
this
Carry on.
and I hear you explain it so exactly how you can overcome your paradigms, the old paradigms, the paradigms, they are your enemy. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes they're not, if you got some good ones, but generally the ones that we were dealing with are the ones that are causing us trouble, holding us back from the things we want. So I say here on the next page is,
Yeah.
what is a paradigm? A paradigm is a mental program that has almost exclusive control over our habitual behavior. Think of a loved one, maybe your spouse, next door neighbor, sibling, perhaps someone at work. Now stop and think about them. You will find a pattern in their life. And that pattern does not deviate much because, just like all of us, their paradigm controls their thoughts, feelings, and actions. It is controlling everything. That just made me think of, I was living near Toronto, and good neighbor, his name's Lee. My next door neighbor, at one place I was living there, and every day he would drive like probably an hour to go to work. And sometimes, he usually get there within an hour to his job, but coming home, sometimes it was 2 hours or 3 hours because, he'd get done at 5 o'clock, and so did everybody else. Right. So, it's a habit to want to live like that. He got conditioned young that that's what you do, and that you make those kinds of sacrifices to have a decent job. You're willing to drive an hour to work and maybe 2 or 3 hours to get home. That would drive me crazy personally. Like, there's no way I could do it. Like, there's no way. Like, you get me stuck. Right? You get me stuck in traffic once, where I spent 3 hours getting home, and I would never do it again. Obviously, you can't just quit your job, but I certainly would personally. I would be finding a way not to do it. Find there's always a way. Like, even with him, like, he's actually doing it more now, where I think COVID-19 actually helped a lot. Was they, during the lockdowns, they started doing a lot of things online. So the work that he would go into the office to do, he was able to do online because he could connect to their. And that's, again, if I had to spend 3 hours trying to get home, I'd be looking for ways to figure that out. So. And it goes on here to say, if you want to shape your future, you must be willing and able to change your paradigm. It's a simple process, but it's not easy because you are changing habits, right? Like I just said, like, he drives into work every day. It's a habit. A paradigm is a multitude of habits. Habit is something that you do automatically without any conscious thought. It's an idea fixed in your subjective or subconscious mind that automatically expresses itself without any conscious thought. It is like being a mental, like being on a mental autopilot. Take a moment and turn off that internal autopilot and look at the results you are achieving. If your actions are not giving you the results you want, then a shift is obviously necessary. And that's what we're trying to help people understand here. It's going to read one more part here, and then we'll have a quick chat about it too. If you want to improve your results, you must become aware of how to shift your paradigms and move away from that little voice inside telling you that you cannot do this or cannot do that, constantly reminding you that you cannot do many of the things you say you want to do. You may never completely get rid of those inner voices, but you can empower them. You can take control over the quality of your life by doing that. Overpower them. Sorry, I said empower them. I was thinking, like, you don't want to empower them. You want to overpower them and then take control of the quality of your life. Can you think of times like that you've had to just say, you know what, I'm not doing it that way anymore. Okay. I sometimes do it still now. I get up in the morning sometimes and I don't want to get out of bed. And then I start getting excited about the things I'm trying to accomplish, and that gets me out of bed. I still have a bad habit. The first thing I want to do is have coffee. Um, Probably not the best thing to do first thing in the morning, but hey, I don't know that I'm going to give that one up. Like,
That's a good paradigm.
yeah, I know. It's like, do I need to give up coffee first thing in the morning? I don't think I can, but maybe. Some people say meditate, some people say exercise. I think those are great ideas, but
After
after coffee,
coffee.
after
After coffee. Yeah,
coffee.
that's true. I can't, I would never be able to do exercise before I have a coffee.
It's like, what, are you nuts? I could say.
And that's not possible. Yeah. And that's important that the people realize that this is the paradigm, what they are doing every single day. And most of the people come exactly to this point where they want to make a big shift and a big change, where they sit down and say, okay, that's not the way I want to wake up every single morning the rest of my life. The pain has to be so high and so strong that they say, okay, I don't want that anymore. One thing is that they have depression, or they are sad, instantly sad, or they feel alone. And depression is a good sign. And the next one is what the body tells you. Most of the people, they say, okay, I have to change something because I had a heart attack, or maybe I have cancer, or some issues with my back, with the vertebrae, and so on and so on. And but why don't people change their life earlier, at an earlier point? They always go to this point where they say, okay, it's not gonna working out anymore this way.
Yeah, that's true. I was just Deborah Emberley's friend of mine. She says you can have no more coffee, obviously following a 21-day pattern of not having coffee, and create a new habit. So she's right, but you got to want to, right? You got to want to. And then she also just said it's all about choice. You're absolutely right. I don't want to. I choose
Absolutely.
not to. Now, something I like in there, we got a quote here from the Upanishads. It's an ancient book from the probably the Indian area. Says, I always love this one. Out of abundance, he took abundance, and still abundance remained. It's basically what they're saying is that there is no shortage of anything, right? So I went on to say here that are you aware that you are dealing with an infinite source of supply? There is no limit to what you are capable of doing or receiving. You can never take more than your share, so never worry about taking too much. You can have all you want. And then I go on to say paradigms are what dictate whether you are struggling to make ends meet or whether you live in abundance. Paradigms are a multitude of habits like programming that are controlling everything in your life. Here's what's interesting. Others installed this. Sorry, I'm going to need to change the page here. This programming. They're not your ideas. You inherited them. That is why we speak the language we speak. That's why we do the things we do. It's why we treat people the way we treat people. The shift to a new set of programs that will provide you with the life you desire. You must be willing to eliminate the old program, the paradigm. You cannot put something where something already is. You must create a space for the good that you desire in your life. That's actually the vacuum law of prosperity. You got to get rid of something before you can put something in its place. It's like, like you've got a beautiful living room you're sitting in. If you wanted to put a new couch behind you there, you'd have to get rid of the one that's there, correct? If you wanted some new pillows, you'd have to get rid of that beautiful burgundy pillow that's behind you.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, that's it.
Exactly, right. So really what we're saying here is that, it's the paradigms that are causing you to feel stuck. There really is no limit to what you can do. There's no limit to what you can have. There's nothing that's stopping you from having everything you can ever desire or dream of, whatever you can imagine, you can have it. But if you're feeling stuck, well, that's because your paradigms have caused you to feel that way. So that's like the first step here. We've got 5 steps to the shift process that we're talking about here. And I'll just quickly mention them. The first one is being stuck. You got to understand being stuck. And then the second one is about intentions. And then we're going to talk about resistance, then the resolve to that resistance, and then the change that you're searching for. So any thoughts on that before I maybe start talking about stuck? Or do you want to talk about stuck? Or what do you want to do? You're the boss today. You tell me what we're going to do.
Yeah. I love this topic of paradigms anyway. I think about paradigms really a lot of time during the day, because I try for myself to making me really aware of what I'm doing. And I think that's important when people realize that they put their attention to the now, what they are doing right now.
Yeah.
Then they become aware how their paradigms are working. And the second one, I want to say to paradigms here is many people, and I know it from my clients, that they say, okay, it's not my fault that I had those paradigms installed in my subconscious mind. So I all got this stuff from my parents and my siblings and the people around me and the teachers. And at some point, the people, they get angry about what the other people did to them. But that's the next problem. I call it problem, because then they feel like a victim.
Yeah.
And that's not true, because just to becoming aware, and what we talked about, release already, to release the old stuff, is not to blame your parents or your siblings and the people. They helped you growing up. They did the best they could at this time, and they didn't know it better, but they always wanted the best for everyone. Yeah, we can't be angry to our parents because they always love their kids in most cases. Yeah,
the best they can, even when they seem like they don't. They actually do. They just don't know how.
Do. Yeah.
Paradigms are a tough one. Deborah here
Absolutely.
said the past makes us stuck. She's right. It's focusing on the past that makes you stuck. Focusing on the here and now allows you to focus on what's next and get you unstuck, right?
Yeah, exactly. And here is the example I think we talked about it at the round table.
Indeed.
When we talked about being here in the present. So I think this is a wonderful exercise that everyone can practice, just to tell yourself what you are doing right now in this moment.
Right.
That brings you back from the past in the now. And you don't have to think about the future all the time, even though these are good thoughts. Okay, if anyone can embody the new life and the new self, then it's okay. But worrying, to be in fear about the future, is not what's helping you to change your life. So being in the present now is just tell yourself the story, what you are doing right now. So if you feel fear, or if you are aware that you are in the past, then tell yourself what you are doing right now.
Yeah. That kind of leads a little bit into what we're going to be talking about in the next part after we talk a little bit more about stuck intentions. Right? Like, what's your intention? What do you want it to look like?
Yeah.
So, well, let's just talk about stuck here. This is the very first part of the shift process, is really kind of understanding where you're at. You were just, kind of commenting. Actually, something before you did mention the round table. Might want to just tell anybody who might be joining us here that the round table is something we do on Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern. It's not live. It's a private group, and You can register to be part of that. You can, and once you're registered, we'll send you the link to get on the Zoom call with us if you want to do that. It's just an open discussion. We sometimes have special people like, in fact, we've got our buddy Eric Keys is going to be leading it tomorrow. And I think Karen, you were talking about next week, you're going to lead one, which I think will probably be the best one we ever had. I would imagine, right?
Yes, of course.
Anyways, if you need that, you can reach out to either one of us or go to myelevatenetwork.com and you'll see a thing for the roundtable. Just click on it. You're gonna have to put your name and create a password, and then we'll start sending you the link. There's no obligation, nothing to buy or anything like that. It's currently free and probably will be for a while. So come and join us. I think you might enjoy it. So, shall we talk about being stuck? I've been there.
Yeah,
In fact, the reality is we're always stuck somehow. Even when you're living what would appear to be a perfect life, you're probably stuck at something. Right? You're going to find multimillionaires and very successful people. They get stuck on certain things, but they just know how to get past it. And that's really what we want to try to help people do, is understand the process, is how to get unstuck. Right? So let's just start reading a little bit here about stuck. Do you find yourself feeling stuck or trapped from time to time in a life you did not design? I would imagine that you answered yes to that question. So let us try and change how you think about the experience of feeling stuck. It all starts with the way that your body and your mind work together. Your body and your mind are obviously in sync with one another. Your body is designed as a sophisticated system and to send signals to your mind when fundamental needs are not met. I went on to, I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm just going to go to some of the highlights. I got lots of highlights. And the orange ones is don't bother, the orange stuff is don't bother highlighting, just read the whole thing. And then the yellow stuff is jump to that. Now you know my entire system. And then you get the orange lines and the yellow. Okay, that means that I better read quite a bit of this. So anyhow, now you know my system. So I went on to say here, feeling stuck works the same way, or feeling stuck is, well, it's a signal from your soul, from your heart, that you need to grow, that you need growth. Growth is one of the most fundamental needs of all human beings. And that's exactly what it is. If you think about it, like, if you're feeling stuck, because you're thinking about the past, you're thinking about what's wrong. You're not thinking about where you want to go. There's no personal growth in any of it. I would suggest find a mentor, find a coach, or read a book. Study a program, do something to get your mind thinking of what's next. And when I say feeling stuck means that a fundamental thing needed to be a healthy, happy human being is missing. And it's not food, water, or shelter. It's the need for growth. So if you feel stuck, the last thing I want you to do is to start thinking about how stuck you are, because signals in your body are signaling you to take action. Right? Like sometimes too, I'll find like maybe in the middle of the day that I'm feeling stuck. I don't feel like doing what I need to do. I'll go for a walk and I'll listen to something. I guess, we're working on Think and Grow Rich right now on Thursdays. Anyways, if anyone wants to join us, we're here on Thursdays with Think and Grow Rich. Like I'll listen to that. Like I'll prepare myself for what's next. Right. So like on Thursday, what are we talking about? Oh, sex transmutation. Interesting topic.
Wow. No, it's a hot topic. Yeah.
It's hot. It's a hot topic. So, it's actually not that hot. It just sounds hot, right? It sounds hot. Anyways,
No, it's very interesting.
I'll probably, tomorrow and even on Thursday, I might be going for a walk and listening to that. Right? And it gets me unstuck. It gets me starting to get excited about what we're going to be doing next. So it means that, basically it's, you need to grow. So if you feel stuck, the last thing you want to do is start thinking about how stuck you are. Right? So think about being stuck as a signal that you need to grow. That is all it is, a signal, not sort of diagnosis of your life, not a state of mind. It is a signal telling you that you need to grow. We need to learn some new things. Think about some of the things that you can do to increase your awareness daily. I just said, I go for walks. I'll read, I'll listen to things. And, even like, doing this helps me get unstuck. like it's interesting that I'm looking at this book and I've got highlights and I'm thinking, how come I don't actually just know all this? And I actually do when I start reading it, but I don't remember all of it because it's been a while since it's in there. I don't remember exactly what was said. So that's why I have notes. I'm thinking, okay, probably should talk about that. But anyways, any thoughts on stuck? I think you maybe talked a little bit about it already, but anything more you want to talk about regarding stuck?
Yeah, the stuck is I do it with the abundance tuning. I listen to it when I go for a walk. So I have to go for a walk, no matter how the weather is, if it's rainy or stormy or the sun is shining. I have to go out with my dog. And what I
Wonderful.
do is I listen to abundance tuning. Every walk I take another chapter, and it's great. So what people can do is also listen to affirmations when they go for a walk. This is also wonderful, and it's wonderful anyway to be outside in the nature. You have the fresh air, and you don't have to think when you walk. You can just listen or think about anything you like, to enjoy everything you see around. So and when we talk about stuck, it's interesting where so many people, most of the people say, okay, I am stuck, I have to go outside of my comfort zone. uh, Excuse me. Okay. And but what happens if you get unstuck and you come to the next level? Then you come to the point where you are stuck again. Yeah. So you are never really unstuck for the rest of your life. So you always come to the next comfort zone, because if you do something and you feel comfortable where you are, then you are comfortable for just a while, and then you get stuck again. And this stuck is not only to be really, how can I say it? This is just a sign, how you said it at the beginning, it's just a sign from the heart. You want something more.
Growth.
Growth.
Yeah.
Just
Some type of
growth.
growth,
And we
yeah.
always want to grow.
Yeah.
Growth is something that, is with us, what we want for the rest of our lives.
The sad part about the whole idea of being stuck is, like, I know people that they basically make a career out of being stuck. They love to play the victim. Oh, poor me.
Yeah.
Right? Because they get attention.
Yeah.
And the sad part is then, you know what? You're stuck there forever. Nothing's ever going to change. And the sad part is, again, that's a paradigm. They've conditioned themselves to believe that, the only way they're going to get any kind of attention or something is by playing the victim. So the last thing in the world they want to do is change. I see it all the time. You see it on Facebook all the time, like people that want to tell you all their problems. Like, why do you want to do that? And why do you think that I want to hear it? Like, it's, if you want to change, if you want to become unstuck, then I want to hear about that, because I can help you with that. You can help them with that. But you get people all the time talking about, oh, I had to see the doctor today, and oh, I had to do this today. What they don't realize is that, if you really get to understand how your subconscious mind works, you're putting yourself in those situations. Like, everything about your physical health has something to do with what's going on internally in your mind, right? Like, you're not supposed to be sick. We weren't designed to be sick, but we cause ourselves to be sick, and that's being stuck. You're stuck in a health situation. If you do have a health situation, then you deal with it. You go see your doctor, and that's it. Right? I remember Bob Proctor saying the only time you should ever talk about your health is with your doctor. That's it.
Yeah.
Never talk about it any other way. Don't tell people about it. Don't discuss it. And then, and again, stop using social media to tell the whole world that you've got some kind of an ailment, right? So it's anyways. That's
Yeah,
my
and that's exactly what I meant. What you're talking about, you are getting, yeah, you're feeling about the story you are telling. These are the emotions you create, and uh, people love to talk about what's wrong and what issues they have and what problems they have, and that's the point. If you talk about it, you pick up the vibration of being sick, the vibration of sickness,
yeah.
and don't talk about it. That's what I tell my clients too. Don't talk about what you don't want. I just want to hear from you what you want and what you love and what you want to do tomorrow and next week and next month. Don't talk about what you don't want, and don't talk about some health issues, money problems, or that the boyfriend left you or that cheated on you or whatever. Don't talk about it, because every time people talk about what's going wrong, they pick up the vibration.
Right. Yeah.
And that's exactly the language of the universe.
Right.
Yeah, the vibration we pick up, that's the vibration we're sending out. That's exactly the vibration that comes back to us.
I think it's interesting. I was at the grocery store earlier today, and there's actually a couple of people walking around with face masks on, and I'm thinking like, it's okay if you feel as though you need to wear a face mask, but you're more likely to attract COVID-19 because you're constantly worrying about it than if you don't worry, because you're going to attract it. There's a vibration there that, oh, I'm going to get sick. And guess what? You do.
Yeah.
Think about even like, I don't know, it's like in Austria, but we're going into flu season, apparently.
Yes,
There is
me
no
too.
such thing as flu season. What that is simply companies that make flu medicine and possibly governments, they want to convince you that it's flu season. They're creating a paradigm. And guess what? Every time this year, everybody gets the flu. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you better get your flu shot. Okay, if that's what you feel you need to do, then go do it. But
Yeah.
do you really? I guess, I don't know. I think that if you're really worried about the flu, you're going to get the flu. Like I've never had the flu. I can't think of any time in my entire life where I've had the flu. And I've also never had the flu shot. I don't want it. I don't want the flu. I'm not getting it. Right.
Mhm.
So again, like when you start getting into the whole idea of being stuck, well, you get stuck because you're constantly caught up in all this stuff. And it's stuff that isn't going to take you where you want to go. If you're excited about life, you're not going to get sick. You don't have time to be sick,
Yeah.
right? Like,
It's yeah, it's the same in every single area of life. It's when when people sit down and are sad and talking about that they don't have the partner they would love to have, so they will never have the partner. If they talk about the money problems, they gonna have the money problems the rest of their life.
yeah, that's right.
That's it.
Hey, when it comes to money, you're going to find that, they're focusing on what they don't have. Oh, I can't pay my rent, or I can't pay my car payment. Oh, I can't pay my electric bill and things like that. Well, you're always going to have problems if you're focusing on that. Again, you're
Mhm,
stuck. And,
mhm.
I think we've already talked about it. It's not your fault you're there. But now do you understand why you're there? Well, now it's your fault if you don't do something about it. Because you don't have an excuse now. You're starting to understand it. Doesn't mean you have to know it all. Doesn't mean you have to fix everything all in one day, because you can't. Those paradigms were put there through your entire life. I don't know, whoever's watching us or listening, it doesn't matter how old you are, but ever since you were probably 5 years old, from that point on, you've been conditioned to see things a certain way. Well,
Mhm.
if you don't like the way it is, if you're constantly sick all the time, if you're constantly broke all the time, you have to take responsibility for that and make the changes. That goes back to, chapter 1. We talked about it, back in the beginning on reality. It's got
Yeah.
nothing to do with blame. You have to take responsibility for where you are. Like I said, like, I don't want to be sick. I have no time to be sick. Like, who wants to be sick? And yet all you gotta do is go to Facebook and there's people all day long telling you how sick they are. Oh, I couldn't go to work today. Oh, I had to go to see my doctor today. Oh, whoa, 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 poor me, right? Now,
Yeah,
they're
and
sick.
yeah,
It's not fake. They're genuinely sick. But if you change your mindset, you can get to the point where you're less sick. Like I don't want anybody to get the idea that you shouldn't go see your doctor and it is fake. It's not. It's real. You are sick. But if you want to get a life where you're not as sick, then you got to change your paradigms. You got to see the world differently,
absolutely.
change that reality, take responsibility for it, and become unstuck. Right. So the next part here is intentions, and this is really where it kind of starts. You have to start to set the intention of where you want to go. So let me just read a little bit of this. Intentions are one of the missing keys for many people. What intentions do is increase the probability of certain things happening, because the truth is every potentiality, everything exists now. The degree to which we experience that which we want will depend upon the intentions that we set. Now think of intentions like that of a declaration of what you want to experience in your life. So the way that really works are that our thoughts are correlated with how we feel our emotions are. I need more light. There we go. They're going to say a big part of this has to do with intention, because the intention is the direction we are going. So think of the intention as the momentum. The intention is a declaration to have, do, or be some particular way. Like, I intend never to catch the flu. And I'm not.
Mhm.
You're never going to see me with the flu. Like I'm lived a fair amount of time. I'm 39. No, I'm just kidding. I joked I'm 39. I stopped counting at 39. It's a good number to stop at, right? So
Mhm.
I'm not going to say how
That's
long ago I stopped counting, but in my 39 years of life, I can say I've never had the flu. And it's interesting. I actually grew up in an environment where I was almost conditioned to want to be sick, because that's how you got attention. Like around my house, the family members would take turns whose turn it was to be sick. And they would always kind of come around to me like it was my turn, and I just didn't play. I wouldn't play. Like my mother was always number one. She was always sick. And then it'd be my dad's turn, or it'd be my sister's turn, and it'd be my turn, and I wouldn't play. They'd kind of look at me like it was strange, because I didn't want to play. I'm not sick. I'm not going to pretend I'm sick, and I don't want your attention. So it's right. So
yeah, yeah,
again, it's a
exactly.
paradigm, right? So the main difference between intention and desire, this is something people often ask, is that intention is more of a declaration. It's more of an understanding that is already yours, that it's already yours. Whereas desire just remains as an emotion. That's the important thing, is you can desire something, you get emotionally involved in wanting it, but it's your intention that's going to actually cause you to move in that direction. Because when you have an intention, you're gonna believe that everything you want, what you intend to have, is already yours. Yes, you're emotionally involved in it, but you're now acting on it because you have that faith, right? Let's see what else we want to talk about. Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, and that's an important thing, the attention and the intention. So when you put the attention to something and you feel that you love it, it's so important in common with the intention. You know, the thoughts we are sending out to the universe, that's what we want. And through our emotions, we we bring everything into our reality. We bring everything in the manifestation, and through the intention we set an action. The intention is also a big part, is also a big part, like the emotions. Yeah, we have to set an intention and we have to feel the emotion. But if you uh, only have a wish and you see something, then it will always stay a wish. Yeah, and without intention you don't take action, and that's a part what many people miss, because without the
Yeah.
action on impulses,
Yeah. And it's going from,
nobody will have some manifestation.
right. So it's like going from, having a dream to having it as a reality. It's now in your
Yeah,
life. And that's how
yeah,
people achieve things, right? I want to say, set intention to have fun, set the intention to increase your state of being, set the intention for it to be a win-win for everyone. If I go into my office and tend to add value to everyone, I know that the byproduct of that energy is the better things will materialize for me. I would enter an excellent energy state. I would not be as attached to the outcome. Something would happen for me, and this will work for you as well. You will find yourself constantly in the right place at the right time. That happens.
yeah,
We call it luck. It's got nothing to do with luck. It's got to do with mindset, right?
yeah,
And I just highlighted here too that test this every single day for yourself.
yeah,
Start at zero every day and try it. And you're going to find that, maybe not the first day, but you're going to start to find that your whole life is going to start to change. The next,
absolutely.
what are we talking about next here? Yeah, so it's always, so ask yourself what you do intend to accomplish. Don't think about how it will happen. Expect that all you intend for will materialize, because it will, once you are open to receiving it. Now, let us take the look at what might be keeping you from tuning into all the abundance the universe has to offer. And that is the next step, resistance, right? I guess we need to speed up here. We're turning around the time, aren't we?
Yeah.
How about if I just read a few of the highlights on this one? Because this is actually a fairly big one too. Again, even if you're following along, you don't want to go back to release. You're going to find some good information in there in the chapter on release. So anyways, the cause of resistance to change can be found in our conditioned mind, our paradigms. Paradigms could be controlling virtually every move we make. We've already kind of talked about that, and that's the key. That's the resistance, right? That's what's keeping you from moving forward and into the life that you want. So paradigms are like a program that was installed into your subconscious mind. It's a program installed by people remarkably close to you, people who love you very much. Now, again, we've talked about this, and that's the key. You really need to understand this. This programming, probably came along with some limiting beliefs that might control the remainder of your life unless you take control of it and responsibility for that thinking. Now, thoughts, concepts, and values are that were prominent around you repeatedly went straight into your subconscious mind. Again, we're talking about when you're a small child. Now, you come into this world absolutely perfect. It's the environment that messes you up.
Yeah.
And then we get, because we get conditioned to see the world a certain way, we are attracted to people and things, and they're all in that same paradigm. You got to learn to get past that, right? That's the resistance it's happening. I mentioned here a couple pages over that, it creates an imaginary glass ceiling. You're only going to be able to go so far. You can only go as far as you see, right? That's on page 145. The bottom there, the truth is that you are deserving of anything and everything you can imagine. But again, those paradigms are going to get you to believe that it's not true. Another factor holding us back is vulnerability. These are basically the different steps or sort of different things that we're going to come into contact with. So one of the factors holding us back is vulnerability, avoidance. We resist and self-sabotage because although we would like to have all these beautiful things, fulfilling the important dreams means taking risk. Well, you're going to have to be vulnerable. We need what we think we need to control, which that's the problem with all that. We do not realize that control is just an illusion. Then we got the imposter phenomena. The critical element of the imposter phenomena are as we rise higher, as we start to have more goodness in our lives, we start to feel this pressure and we start to feel like we do not deserve this. I am worthy. I am not worthy of this. This is too much. Now you see this, I see this a lot. You see people that, they got these big goals and they may have some success. They're doing better than they ever did. But they're not thinking anymore. They're just simply going with the flow, thinking it's going to stay. But guess what? Subconsciously, you've been conditioned to believe you don't deserve it. That's for
Yeah.
other people. That's not for you. That's for other people. So this imposter comes along and says, no way. And then your behavior changes and you start to sabotage the success you're having. And next thing you know, guess what? You're stuck. You're back where you started from. And you go, oh,
Yeah,
what happened?
because you're falling back in the old paradigm. Yeah, that's exactly the self-sabotage. So I'm not good enough and I'm not smart enough and I don't deserve it. All these false beliefs we carry inside of us. And we know it. We all have these false beliefs, but it's always how much attention do you give them, these false beliefs.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm doing with my clients, to really look at these false beliefs, because it's necessary that you know what's holding you back, and then change the perspective, change the vibration, and then you can let it go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another big factor here is ego. Now we self-sabotage because we fear failure. If you give it your all and it doesn't work out, well, then it means that you do not have what it takes, that you're a failure, that you're not good enough, right? Which none of that is true. You're gonna fail. You have to fail. You've never done it before. Right? But if you're open to receiving from this universe, if you're in the right vibration, you're going to be led in the right direction. I always, again, that failure part of things it's just another way how not to do something. You learn from it. And you may need to fail at this point to be able to have the information you need at another point. So just keep going. That's the key. Just keep going. Right? People frequently think that self-sabotage is a fear of success, when really it's a fear of failure.
Yeah.
It could actually be both in some cases. Right?
Yeah.
Nelson Mandela said here, I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear. Right? So you just go. That's the key.
Yeah.
So the next section is the resolve. You do not build a system. The habits create new rituals in your daily life that get you constantly moving towards your dream. Your dreams, chances are that you will not achieve them. Right? So you got to build these systems. Right? The resolve to make a difference, to live an abundant life, is found in this particular formula that I wrote here. And it says that you start with a clear vision plus a firm decision plus massive action, and you become unstuck. You basically create the change that you're looking for. The first thing that you need if you want to achieve any level of greatness and bring any dream to life is your intention needs to be legendary. The intention has to be big enough, bold enough, and aimed high enough where it scares you just a little bit. It should be something that when you think about it, you get kind of equal parts of excitement mixed with equal parts of dread. It should push you out of the comfort zone. Now, you must see yourself on the screen of your mind living a life that does not currently exist. It is essential to visualize specific scenes that you would love to manifest in your life. Right? That's exactly what happens, isn't it? Like we get stuck.
Yeah.
Let me think what's on here.
And that's exactly when the visualization can lift you up out of this stuckness. This is with the visualization. Yeah, what happens that you program your subconscious mind. And that's what I experienced. I experienced it by myself, and I know it from my clients, that most of the clients, they don't get the results they want to have. They don't visualize in the evening when they go to bed. And that's something, when I say, how important is this goal for you? How much do you want to reach it? How much do you want to get unstuck? And how much do you want to change your life? Yeah. And if you don't have the will and the persistence, then it's not big enough. And the pain is not big enough. And the goal is not big enough.
Right. Yeah. Can't think too big. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Just 1 second. My computer's there. We go. Let's see. Bringing your vision to life is going to require that you make bold moves, sooner rather than later. So a lot of this is, it's all about actions, right? The real trick is to put yourself in the dream sooner rather than later on. And taking action sooner is better than obviously later. So a big part of this is about taking action. And Ralph Waldo Emerson here says an ounce of action is worth a ton of theory. Right? And that's a problem too. When you think about it, people like to think about it. They sit around and they think about it. Right? Oh, I need to study this first. I need to study that first. No, you need to go. Now, are you going to probably need some new information? Are you going to need to study things? Are you going to need to learn things as you go along? Yes. But you don't need to learn it first. You need to start. Because how do you know what you need to learn until you get there? Right? Oh, maybe I need this information. Well, maybe you don't. Like I always point out, like even Bob Proctor didn't even finish grade 9. And yet he passed away, a multimillionaire, and basically a legend in the personal development world. Like we're going to be talking about Bob Proctor for decades, right? And then you finish grade 9. You got Richard Branson, one of the richest men in the world. He's out there flying people out into space now. He quit in grade 10. He quit school in grade 10. Right? He doesn't have all this education. You don't need it. What we talked about it in Think and Grow Rich about specialized knowledge. You don't have to personally have the specialized knowledge. You just have to have the dream, and you need to take the action to move towards it. And guess what? You'll find that specialized knowledge along the way. It can be with somebody else. Right? I think there's a whole even thing with Henry Ford where they had him in court, and they were asking him all kinds of questions, and he had people to answer the questions for him. What's wrong with that? That's actually, I think, to me, that's a brilliant way to do it. But,
and everything comes at the right time. So that's what you said, the specialized knowledge, you get it when you need it, but you don't have to sit and learn if you don't know what you need this for. Just go, and when you go, you get exactly what you need. Yeah. And this is this thinking versus action, knowing action. Yeah. That's where the most people stay stuck because they don't take action. And the action on impulse is simply that what brings you really the manifestation and the results.
Just go. It's like the GPS. You can put the destination in, but you don't need to know how to get there. All you need to do is get in the car, start the engine, put it in drive, put your foot on the gas, and just start. And you'll be led how to get there. Now, you can make a mistake. You can go in the wrong direction. And guess what? You'll be led how to turn around and go the other way. That's the same thing with this universe. The universe will guide you, but you need to have a clear picture. And you have to believe that you already have everything you need. It's already here. And when you do that, it starts to work out. So it said the last part of this section is believe in your ability to figure things out. Be ready to serve. You do not need permission, more money, or a team. You are ready to start now. Go. You do not need new things, more things, better things. Just be willing to serve right now. Just start. Okay. Now that leads us into the last portion of this chapter on shift is change. I'll just read the first part here. We all go to change our lives, and we all want to improve our lives. If you hope to improve your health, relationships, work, or lifestyle, you know that sometimes it can be difficult. It can be scary. Every new year, we set big goals initially. We wanted to achieve it, but you find yourself a couple of months later not doing it. Think about weight. How many people say, I'm going to lose all the weight I want to lose or something like next thing you know, they're ordering a pizza. Well, the reason is that subconsciously you're unwilling to face the price of change. It's like the admission gates to a music park, a circus, or Disneyland. Right? Aren't you going to Disneyland in the new year? Did you say aren't you going to Disneyland in January or something?
Yeah.
Anyways, you have to pay to go through the turnstiles to enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
Unless you can jump really high. Can you jump really high and just jump over them? Changes like that as well. Most people bounce up against those turnstiles because it's uncomfortable, then leave the park, never getting to experience the beauty, wonder, and fun. They walk away from their goals, dreams, and hopes because they just thought it was not worth it or too complex. That goes a lot of times too. You got to be passionate about what you want. You got to love what you're looking for, and you have to expect to have it. Right? Like, so what are you going to have to face? What are you going to have to allow yourself to do to pay the price of change? I think there are 3 costs of change. Anytime you want to change your life, you are going to face these 3 things. So the first price of admission is change is uncertainty. You got to be willing to keep going, right? I'll just speed this up because we're almost done here. Like, you let go of everything. Let go of your need for permission. Let go of your need for perfection and try. You don't need to know what is going on. After all, you've never done it before, right? That's important. Just go. Okay, the second price of admission to change is when other people who lack understanding are going to judge you, reject you, and ridicule you. Okay? They're trying to gauge you based on their past, but you are not tethered to the past. You and I can both wake up tomorrow and claim our golden ticket. Right? Go on to say tomorrow is always a blank slate. That family thing, I've heard that many, many times. I remember when I first published my first book, I gave my sister a copy of it. She didn't even look inside. Her first thing was says, "Oh yeah, I read The Secret once." It's not The Secret, I guess. You know? And because she read The Secret once, she doesn't need my book, right? She knows everything, right? Anyways, the third price of change is struggle, hardship, and difficulty. You're going to have problems, right? This is the part of the process. It's going to be uncomfortable, not just uncertainty. It's going to be difficult. You may need to stay up late to work on your dream. You might have to give up spending time with family and friends. You may find yourself struggling with the discipline to stay focused. At times, you may find that this experience tries your soul, your mind, and your body. Right? These are all things that has to happen to if you really truly want to have change. Right? And this is the very last part here. It says there will always be people who judge you. You will never know the exact path or exactly how it will turn out. Begin anyway, because what is included in the admission to change is progress, and progress is worth it. Your growth is worth it. Take these ideas, pay the price of change, and keep moving. Find the change you seek. Go live a charged life filled with abundance. And I'm doing it. You're doing it. And I think there's a lot of people that we work with now. You see it. You know, even our meeting tomorrow with the roundtable. There's, you know, probably, you know, it's getting close to like a dozen people around there now, and they're all focusing on change. They're all got intentions of what they want, and they're moving towards it. And then collectively, as we get together, being in that similar mindset, we're helping everybody do exactly what we're talking about here. We're helping people create that change that they're searching for. You know, you've made a lot of changes in your life. I've made a lot of changes in my life. Like, look where you're at. Like, we're just talking about a beautiful room that you're in there. I think that's like, I love the ceiling, by the way. You got a little pot lights.
That's some spots
It's
here
a
on the
different
ceiling.
view. You changed the view. I haven't seen this view before. So one of these days I'm going to Austria. I want to go with you. We'll go for a hike up the Alps or something like that.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, you work with horses. Do you can you go horseback riding up in the Alps? Like, there must be paths.
Not in the Alps directly, but we have many mountains here and woods. Yeah, it's beautiful to go in the wood with the horse. This is, for me, this is better than meditation. If I sit on a horse and I don't have to talk and I can just enjoy and be one with this horse. And yeah, it's just beautiful not to think about anything, just to be here right in the moment and enjoy.
Yeah.
But enjoying is to enjoy the life and to love life and to the love to being where I am. This is just great, but we're going to talk about that next week in fine tuning about love and the resistance of love.
Yeah. There's a lot of that going on. Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up, obviously, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, it's karingatchenig.com, correct? And me, Jenkins.com. And again, I want to encourage people to come and join the roundtable. There's no obligation to do anything. You're not, it costs nothing. But you do have to register for it, so you get the link to the Zoom call. So you can do that either by reaching out to either one of us or go to myelevatenetwork.com. There you'll see a link for the roundtable. Just click on it. And then Thursday, you'll see both of us back here again for Think and Grow Rich with Walter Perdigo and Eric Keys, and talking about sex transmutation. Interesting topic. I don't know that it's one of my favorite chapters. It's about, well, anyways. Join in
Yeah,
on
it's gonna
Thursday.
be
Join in on
interesting.
Thursday. We'll talk all about it. We won't talk about it today. So again, thanks to everybody who has come to visit with us today. I don't know who's with us, but Deb is here, and Lawrence is here. I see other, I don't see there's other messages in here, but I don't see names. So anyways, thanks for everyone who's joined us, and we'll be back again next week with our final chapter on abundance tuning, fine tuning. And we'll see you again very soon.
Talk to you next week. Bye.
Later.